So Kid Buu versus Buuhan is starting to rise to prominence again. I don't know why, but it is. And in this so-called rise, there have been numerous YouTubers to come out of the woodwork just randomly showing up to talk about Kid Buu versus Buuhan, like these two. And there's a lot to be said about these two videos, but I'm not gonna hammer into them completely because A, they may not be informed, or B, they may have some things misconstrued and they don't really truly understand the niche and the lore of Dragon Ball Z and the Buu Saga's writing style. But in this video, I'm going to break it down very simply, very minutely, and we're gonna make it very easy to understand. So let's not waste any time and let's just start with the popular choice in the fight, Buuhan. Now, when it comes to scaling chains for the Buuhan side, it's really only going to come down to this one right here. Now, this particular piece of scaling does get really dicey and choppy because you could honestly take out several pieces of this scaling chain and essentially get the same result. The scaling in question is Buuhan relative to Vegito over Super Saiyan 3 Goku relative to Kid Buu. Now, like I said, you don't even have to talk about Vegito at all. You could drop him from the equation completely and still get the outcome of Buuhan over Kid Buu. So yeah, like I said, there's a difference between the scaling chain and then the reasons for why people believe this scaling chain is true. So let me just go over some reasons why people believe this scaling to be true, and then I'll go over some other reasons why people think Buuhan is the strongest, and then I'll debunk them all. So the first thing I want to talk about and get squared off completely is this whole idea of Buuhan being relative to base Vegito, because not only is this notion not true, but there are multiple pieces of evidence to highlight this being the case. In the original Dragon Ball manga, it's shown that Vegito, upon fusing, immediately transforms into a Super Saiyan and fights Buuhan that way. So essentially, this is the main reason why people think this is true. However, if you actually read the manga or any of the supplementary guides for the manga, you couldn't be further off basis. Let's first acknowledge the fact that Vegito openly makes a statement himself saying that he overshot his power and did not need Super Saiyan to be able to beat Buuhan. But not only that, Elder Kai also makes a statement before Goku and Vegeta fuses along the same sentiment. Now, when it comes to the anime continuity, it's way more concrete and absolute that base Vegito is way stronger than Buuhan. Firstly, I want everyone to understand the only reason why Buuhan gets any offense off against base Vegito in the anime is because base Vegito is holding back and still also adjusting to his new body via fusion. I would also like to point out that base Vegito, again while still holding back, is also shown to make Buuhan visibly uncomfortable and is also verbatim stated to overwhelm him with power. So again, anybody arguing that Buuhan is relative to base Vegito, especially in the anime, needs a little bit of a research check. However, even while speaking on the anime, fans still keep coping about the Buuhan section. People love to keep harping on the showing of Buuhan almost destroying the universe by collapsing multiple alternate dimensions on top of it. Not only is it an overtime destruction of the universe, but it doesn't even compare to Kid Buu in the slightest. But we'll save that for later. When it comes to the idea of Super Vegito actually having to try, that is not the case. The only thing that you really see on his face is the concern for the universe and everybody else living in it. Even after Vegito gets to Buuhan and makes him stop the dimension collapsing, it's pretty obvious and stated that Vegito is still not trying and has not used his full power at all, or even anything close to it. So again, no, the sentiment of base Vegito or Vegito in general having any relativity to Buuhan is false. On to the next piece of scaling. Now, I feel like anybody disagreeing with the idea of Buuhan being above Super Saiyan 3 Goku is just absolutely stupid. It's literally shown and explained to you multiple times. The problem comes in is with this next piece of scaling. Super Saiyan 3 Goku is relative, if not stronger, than Kid Buu. Now, I am going to destroy this argument very thoroughly. Yes, Kid Buu and Super Saiyan 3 Goku are shown to have a hand-to-hand combat exchange multiple times. Even in the guides, it's confirmed that they are evenly matched. I am not disputing that. What I am disputing is the level of power that Kid Buu is using in this fight. It is literally outright explained to us that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is fighting a holding back Kid Buu, someone who is dragging out the fight on purpose and having fun. Now, I've seen 3 counters to this idea, and I'm going to address each and every single one of them in this order. The first being, Super Saiyan 3 Goku is stated to have enough power to be able to wipe out Kid Buu when he charges up his ki. The first debunk to this idea is that this is just quite literally cope from Goku and Vegeta. Not only does Goku make this admitted, but even in the Daizenshu, it's outright highlighted that even if Goku had full power, he would not have been able to win that fight. In episode 1 of Dragon Ball Super, when Goku is talking to Goten about Majin Buu and why he's training, he outright says there was nothing he could have done to win that fight. Goku himself, during the fight with Kid Buu, outright admits that he was wrong and he was putting on a bluff trying to act too cool, and that Potara should have been the answer. And even then, Goku also admits that the only time he would have been able to wipe out Kid Buu is with fusion. So this just outright contradicts the first notion that Goku is above or even relative to Kid Buu. Now, just in case you think it's really unfamiliar that characters can cope in Dragon Ball, keep in mind that Goku was absolutely coping when he said that the Spirit Bomb had enough energy to kill Frieza, and it didn't. The second debunk that people love to use about this argument of Kid Buu holding back is this weird, ridiculous idea that Kid Buu cannot hold back because of his innate nature to destroy shit and just be rowdy. This idea I'm also gonna challenge because it's verbatim stated by Vegeta that Kid Buu could one-shot him, implying that the minute Kid Buu touches him, he would die. However, when we see them fight, what happens? Does Vegeta end up dying upon one hit? No. So again, this is a clear example of Kid Buu outright holding back, unless you think Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 3 Goku are equal in power. And even if you want to say they're in the same ballpark, you would still be wrong about that too, because Vegeta outright admits that there was a considerable gap, a significant gap, between himself and Goku while they were both in Super Saiyan 2. Hence why he runs to Babidi and allows him to control his mind and get that insane power boost. Now keep in mind, right, the Super Saiyan 3 transformation is a 400 times base amp, right? Keep in mind, understand that. And the gap between Super Saiyan 2 and 3 is 4 times. In order to tank someone's abilities or attacks, you would need to be 2 times stronger than them, which means Goku could literally tank 2 times Vegeta's Super Saiyan 2 energy in Super Saiyan 3. So no, Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta are not in the same ballpark. And if you think Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Kid Buu are relative, then this idea of Kid Buu can't hold back is just outright contradicted as well. You see what I mean about the Buuhan side? You kind of have to like not use your brain in order to go against the Kid Buu portion and then favor the Buuhan side. The last and final counter that people love to run to when it comes to the idea of Kid Buu holding back is the showing of Kid Buu being frustrated when it comes to the fight with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Vegeta, and Fat Buu. However, this is a common trait with every Buu. Every Buu does this. When they're actively being attacked or there's something that's kind of like pushing against their power, they're not gonna like that. They hate that shit. But when it comes to them like essentially having the upper hand, they will have like, you know, jovialness and be happy. Every Buu has been shown to do this in every fight they're in. Like, it's not an uncommon thing. And yes, you can be far weaker than a Buu and still piss them off when you're attacking them. Like, what the fuck? Now, I did lie. I did say there were 3 counters and the last one was going to be the final one. However, I did have to address this one because I couldn't afford to miss it. That being that Goku's statement is regarding stamina and regeneration, not the actual power of Kid Buu. First of all, bringing up stamina and regeneration is not a defeater or an alternate interpretation that can go against what I just said. If anything, it coexists with my statement. Also, again, like I showcased before, Kid Buu can outright hold back power, and it is something that he tends to do. So why would Goku not be including power in this sense? Now let's address the respective statements about Buuhan and Buu-Tanks and them being the strongest. Obviously, that refers to the statements that Buu-Tanks makes about being the strongest Majin of the past, present, and future. The statement is then added upon when Buu-Tanks absorbs Gohan, and he then makes the statement of him being the strongest he's ever been. However, in my interpretation, and basically what I've gotten from the Dragon Ball story, Super Buu does not have any knowledge about Kid Buu. This is backed up by the fact that Kid Buu is described to be a beast of destruction, and Piccolo describes a beast of destruction to be somebody that does not retain any memories whatsoever. He even says it's a special thing and it's out of the ordinary for Super Buu to even have any kind of memory of what he did previously, even though he's also a beast of destruction as well. Combine that with the fact that Super Buu never demonstrates memory of anybody he fought or encountered as Kid Buu. This just kind of proves the evidence that I'm showing. People love to cling to what happens inside of Buu's body again, where Super Buu is visibly uncomfortable and absolutely petrified at the thought of turning into anything besides himself. However, this doesn't really prove anything about him having memory of Kid Buu. The fear of the loss of identity and the fear of the transformation into a specific being are 2 completely different things. Super Buu is just afraid that he won't be himself. That could literally be anything to him. It's just not himself, and that's what scares him. Another debunk you could use is Saiyan arrogance. This is pretty simple to go over, so I'll make this quick. So obviously, it's a common trope and trait within the world of Dragon Ball that when Saiyans get newfound power, they have newfound arrogance to go along with it. This arrogance is stated multiple times to lead to the downfall of the most powerful of Saiyans, including Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, and it's especially present in Gotenks. Now notice what I just said, Gohan and Gotenks. two people that Super Buu absorbed. Both are extremely arrogant upon getting newfound power. Gohan literally sold two of the biggest battles of his life, one of them being against Super Buu, and the same thing happened to Gotenks. Literally, Dragon Ball had to give Gotenks 2 chapters named out, highlighting his arrogance. So yeah, it's safe to say that that statement is very questionable at best. So we can move on now. Yeah, we're not done with the Buuhan portion. Let's keep going. So the next extra argument about Buuhan being over Kid Buu is the idea that base Super Buu is stronger than Kid Buu. Now again, there are 2 ways you could go about debunking this. Now the first way is about the events that actually take place inside of Buu's body. After Goku and Vegeta end up removing Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo, Buu ends up reverting back to his regular Super Buu state. It's there where Goku makes a statement that if him and Vegeta decide to leave Buu's body, Buu would then crush them, and he is way too powerful for either one of them. Again, there are ways to debunk this, because Goku isn't talking about a full power scenario here. Remember that inside of Buu's body, Goku and Vegeta are physically shrunken. Now, being shrunken does absolutely weaken you, and we're going to get to that in a second, but Goku and Vegeta are shrunken inside of Buu's body to 1/100th of their original power, which is 1%, which is why Goku mentions what happens if we'll go out like this and why he needs the Potara, because the Potara is specifically stated in both the manga and the Daizenshu to have a special characteristic that overrides being shrunken and losing your power from being shrunken. Not to mention, it'd be borderline impossible to prove that Goku had knowledge of what would happen upon leaving Buu's body, because again, he's literally shocked at the fact that everybody goes back to normal upon leaving. Why would you be shocked at something that you already knew was going to happen? Now, I've heard a lot of counter arguments to this idea of when you get shrunken, you get weaker, so I'm going to address those too. The first is via Orange Piccolo after he assumes his giant form and makes a statement that it's simply a bluff and doesn't add anything to his power. Firstly, that has nothing to do with you being unnaturally shrunken down to a size that you don't belong at, like that. What? Like, it's completely disanalogous. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the final piece of the Buuhan scaling, quote unquote, but this is also an extension of what I was talking about previously. Remember that whole base Super Buu over Kid Buu thing? Well, this is an extension of that. Now, people believe that Kid Buu would lose to Ultimate Gohan, who beat the shit out of Super Buu and is also, quote unquote, stated to be the strongest unfused fighter. This shit is wrong on so many levels, so allow me to explain. The first being that in chapter 321 of Dragon Ball Z, Goku makes it abundantly clear that Kid Buu, if he beat everybody on the Kai's world, would kill everyone. That includes Gohan. So that's the first thing. The second thing is Goku is literally seen as a last resort when it comes to fighting the Buus. Goku only steps in and even finds it disappointing at the fact that Gohan can take Piccolo, which highlights the fact that Goku is stronger than Gohan. The third thing, it's outright stated that Goku is the strongest unfused fighter. So why are we talking about this again? This quite literally is just a waste of time. It's the same thing as people saying like, well, you know, Goku was struggling against Buu in the anime, but was having a good fight against Kid Buu in the anime too. Again, one is trying his absolute hardest to kill Goku. The other is chilling, chillaxing, not trying hard at all, having fun, casually. And even then, Buu wasn't thrashing around Super Saiyan 3 Goku either, but that's like I said, it gets really deep for these Buuhan fans because they don't understand basic shit about the series. But yeah, with that being said, that concludes the Buuhan section of the video, and now we're about to get into the Kid Buu section. Let's talk about it. So my reasonings as to why I think Kid Buu is the strongest are pretty obvious. I don't really think I need to explain them too much, but I'm going to talk about the anime continuity just to get it pretty simple in everyone's head. Starting off with the idea that Goku has experienced and witnessed the power of Buuhan, Buu, and Super Buu, and openly quotes that Majin Buu, Kid Buu, is the strongest he's ever fought. Goku highlights this and extrapolates on exactly what he means: power, speed, and recovery, all beyond every other Buu before him. Even the narrator makes this statement, also confirming it. Taka Koyama, someone who was literally a scriptwriter for Dragon Ball Z, the anime, said that the littlest Buu is the strongest. Akira Toriyama, God rest his soul, outright says that he switches between telling a straightforward and contradictory story where the biggest is not always the strongest. He also wrote Dragon Ball Super, which highlights Kid Buu as being the most formidable opponent that Goku had ever faced. The super exciting guy literally calls him the strongest enemy. There are multiple Daizenshu statements outright highlighting the fact that Kid Buu is the strongest. And for these last two arguments, I'm gonna tie in the whole strongest narrative and pretty much just make it complete. Oob. I mentioned Oob in previous Kid Buu versus Buuhan videos, but never to the extent I'm about to mention right now. So there's a statement in the Daizenshu that states that Goku always continues to seek the strongest. That was consistently his mission from the beginning of the Buu saga, actually from the beginning of the Cell saga all the way up to the end of Z. And while yes, Goku does highlight that Buuhan has extremely high power above his own, that doesn't really complete the mission that Goku was looking to achieve. Goku doesn't think that his mission of finding the strongest is accomplished until he meets Kid Buu. Hence why he asks for a reincarnation of Kid Buu to come back and essentially live out his days as a good guy, so that way he could train him and fight him again. However, when it comes to whether or not Goku thought his mission was complete, if Buuhan was truly what was completing his mission because he was the strongest, why didn't he ask for somebody to be created with the power of Buuhan? The better question is, why didn't he say he was going to train Oob to be at the level of Buuhan? I'm just saying. Again, if Buuhan is the strongest, why would he try to cultivate Kid Buu's power into something higher and not cultivating the power of Kid Buu into Buuhan? Feel me? Like, it just doesn't really make any sense. Now, this is where the second argument comes in. I've heard so many people clamor and cling to this idea. Well, Buuhan has hella people absorbed and hella powerful people absorbed. Kid Buu has none. So obviously Buuhan would be the stronger one, right? Fuck no. First of all, you could claim all day and night that Kid Buu has all these people absorbed, and he does. However, you don't know what these absorptions do, because if you did, you wouldn't be saying some stupid shit like this. Not all of Buu's absorptions made him stronger. As a matter of fact, a majority of them made him weaker. South Supreme Kai is the reason why Kid Buu turns into Fat Buu, which is an inherent nerf. Kid Buu is the result of what happens when that nerf is taken away. So the burden would then fall upon you to prove why all of these absorptions would neutralize the nerf that is already being established. Also, if this is you every time somebody says that Kid Buu is stronger, well, actually, Kid Buu is just the most destructive, not the most powerful. My guy, we know that Kid Buu has an insanely destructive personality, but that 9 times out of 10 isn't even half of people's argument as to why like Kid Buu is the strongest. So you trying to assume so just insults people's intelligence, and it makes it look like you're trying to precog arguments that you yourself don't even fucking know or understand. It's insane, it's crazy, and you need to stop doing it, because again, most people are not saying that Kid Buu is the strongest because of what Kibito Kai has to say. They're not talking about that, and they're not talking about him being the most destructive. That's not what they're referring to. Most people believe that Kid Buu is the strongest because they genuinely believe that he has the highest level of power compared to all the other Buus. That is their reason, and then you have to get into what those reasons are for the claim they're making there. It's very simple, it's very easy to understand. But yeah, with that being said, this has been my analysis on Kid Buu versus Buuhan. It's pretty obvious that Kid Buu is the strongest. It's been your boy Historic. Be good people. I make new videos whenever I can. Yeah, I'm out. Peace.